says soulmate to you, what's the first thing that comes in your head? Just a person.
Instant, passionate connection, I guess, or just, I don't know, you're just drawn to that person. Yeah.
Awesome. So you're just drawn to them, and it's kind of like when you see them, is it just their energy, you think, or yes, and this sort of vibrating?
Yeah.
Exactly. So you know it's something deeper.
I think that there's one soulmate like that you're meant to be with, whether man or woman for a relationship, or there could be that like awesome friend that you have that connection with that you have with no one else. That could be a soulmate, or even with, sounds corny, but like a pet that you love. You know, I just think like, I feel like my cat's my soulmate too, man. He knows me more than anyone else does.
Little Garfield?
George.
George,
Yeah.
yes. Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Peace and love.
Yay!
You rock.
Well, like, let's say I was in love with a guy or a woman, and we had a relationship and we were in love, and I felt that my soulmate was my next door neighbor. And it's not about having it, and I wouldn't be able to tell if one's more deeper connection. I just know that I feel more like I have like the person that I live next door to is my spiritual soulmate. But there's no romanticism, there's no intimacy, there's no falling in love. But the person that I'm in a relationship with, I feel that I'm in love with that person, but just not in a...
But you don't feel the same spiritual affinity, is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying, do you think that that's healthy, if you feel like that? If you feel like your soulmate is someone other than the person that you're romantically involved with? I know that's a really difficult question.
That is a difficult question.
Ideally, the person you're romantically involved with is someone you feel a deep spiritual connection. That doesn't mean it's perfect.
Right.
And that doesn't mean that they're your soulmate in particular, right? Or a soulmate.
Well, in that case, they would come.
Platonic. It doesn't have to be
sexual and romantic.
Sexual or romantic, or it can be like, you can be soulmate with someone.
I guess it depends on how you define it, because if you say soulmate, it's like, there's like soulmate friends, soulmate. Just it's like a recognition, maybe.
Awesome. Thank you, Craig.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Loveen. Loveen.
We're using terms that we don't even really understand.
That's a good point. That's a good point, Elizabeth.
So that's why it's very hard to answer the question. So in that situation, it looks like both of them are soulmates, just in different ways.
In different ways.
Can they have more than one?
Yes.
Can they be related?
Yes, cousin.
See, the parallels of the world are all connected somehow by the threads of life.
Gee.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Wasn't that...
Good, Charlene.
It's Charlene. She's back.
Trying to be Superwoman.
Hey,
Charlene,
Superwoman.
Hi, everyone.
I love you, Gil.
So you think there's only one?
No. Contrary is only one.
A positive thing, but my only concern is that I think it's important for a person to grow to have multiple relationships in a single life, at least for many people. Now, obviously, some people will be able to grow within the context of one relationship throughout their whole lives, but it can be equally important for a person to experience multiple relationships. And so the idea of a soulmate might seem, be a little stifling for those people, especially if you find someone you're convinced they're your soulmate. It might cause you to stay in a negative or potentially abusive relationship because of that connection. But I know people which that has happened to.
Do you think everyone is supposed to be with someone?
Well, I don't think it's free will. So I really think it's up to each individual whether they want to, walk the path alone or share.
So, I think there are like certain times in which certain parts of those things can sort of become elevated to a more enlightened state.
So I think certain souls can bring that out of us in different ways, but I think they all have a place. So I definitely think there's more than just one.
That's great.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Wow. So then you believe that there can be more than one soulmate?
I think maybe for some people, I'm not really sure. That's what I'm kind of confused about now. I think obviously it's possible for people to marry more than one person, but maybe their 3 marriages were never their soulmate. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you mean. Maybe they were just with somebody and it wasn't for the right reasons.
Well, you can connect with people and love them, but they may not necessarily be your soulmate. I feel like there's a difference.
So
I feel like soulmates are like a deeper love, and maybe you'd never know it until you experience it.
Like just when you were saying that we don't really understand what we're talking about, so like soulmates, like really we're all soulmates on the universe. It's just that there's a lot of layers between us and we feel that we can't get on with certain people because our ego's in the way. But if we were all stripped of that, we'd all be spiritually connected to everyone and we'd all be...
That's a good one. Yeah. So you think a soulmate is like predestined, essentially?
If there's such a thing as a soulmate.
Okay, yes, I see what you're saying.
In the way I understand the term, yeah.
So either way, then it should manifest regardless. I see what you're saying. You shouldn't have to.
I think in my experience, it's been like when I was okay with like not actually doing anything or trying to make anything happen. That's like when it would happen. So it's like when you're really alright with not, you just know it's going to happen and it happens.
Absolutely, I do know. Predestined.
I think it's both. I mean, yeah, I mean, you happen to run into certain people.
Predestined?
Not really. I think everyone has the ability to find them. So, yeah, I don't think it can be forced, but at the same rate, I don't think it's predestined.
Believe that soulmates are determined before birth?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
Okay, absolutely.
I don't know. I mean, I think that when you say soulmate, there's a certain definity.
Yes, exactly. Is it just a label we're using then?
Perhaps that's what it is. I mean, I think there's probably people out there that you can learn more from than, say, someone else, but I think there's multiple people in a given lifetime that you can learn from, and I think there's a lot of chance in it, honestly. And I don't think there's a lot of predestination going on.
Okay,
and,
that's fair.
But I won't go into that at this point. You can always ask me that some other time, but it's a very complicated subject, predestination.
That's very interesting. That's great. Okay, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
All right, peace and love.
You too.
I don't really think we have to worry about attracting our soulmates. I think somehow it's orchestrated somewhere else and we find them anyhow. I don't think we have to, do all kinds of affirmations or whatever people do to attract soulmates. On the other hand, it's good to just try to live a positive existence where if your soulmate shows up, you're not, so spaced out and disoriented that you barely recognize them, and that's possible.
Well, how do you think people can attract a soulmate, Craig?
I don't think you can try and make it happen. I think it just happens.
Okay, that's great.
Because if you were trying to do anything to make it happen, then it wouldn't really be a soulmate. Or I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could attract them, but any kind of effort that you make would, in my mind, the way I define a soulmate would maybe contradict a soulmate popping into your life. It's not like, because if they are a soulmate, they're going to show up. You don't have to do anything.